Reporting live from my heading stronghold in Naples, Marr, and beyond. This is Recruiter Roundtable Season 3. Every episode is an open discussion for recruiters, headhunters, and talent pros, so feel free to participate or just sit back and listen as we bring you topics, discussing tips, tricks, and more from both industry dinosaurs and new to like. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And now let's start with the Recruiter Roundtable Season 3, Number 9, End of the Month discussion. Hey, everybody. So, for the people who are watching, the people just joined, Robert had asked about, and some other people had asked, we were talking about how you could summarize a candidate's interview. You talk to a candidate on the phone, you talk to them on Teams or Google Meet, you record it, you have a transcription, right? Just really, your entire conversation. I created a GPT or agent in TypingMind, because I use TypingMind, that summarizes the entire interview, right? It brings it down to a very readable format for the client. It does their experience, their qualifications, the key discussion points, their compensation, the reason for considering a change. And the really cool thing in the agent that I built, and in the TypingMind, you can edit in Canva, right? And then that way you can just copy it and drop it right into a Word document and send it along with a resume. And it gives a great way to your client to get a good interview summary, and versus you saying, well, I talked to him and he said this and said that. This is just a really good thing. So anyway, anybody have any questions on that? Or we can go to Andy Rose thing, and then also anybody else who wants to ask anything. So any questions on that before we move on to the next one? No? Okay. So Andy asked, he's getting pissed at LinkedIn's pricing, thinking of dropping Recruiter and going with People GPT. Curious if folks are seeing a good response rate sending emails over emails. So for me, Andy, and I'll let everybody else comment, Kelly's big email marketer, so is Domenic. I don't send a lot of emails, or never send emails. I've been using LinkedIn Sales Navigator now for well over a year as how I do my searches. So my workflow is pretty simple. A client calls and says, hey, I need a bottle washer in Chicago. I go into Sales Navigator. I do a search for the bottle washer. I find 100 people or whatever the number is. I extract them out of Sales Navigator with a LinkedIn automation and ATS CRM tool called JobIn. I immediately send them all a connection request with a little message about the job. I wait 24 hours. Anybody who accepts that, I put into my short list in Loxo, and in the ones who don't, I put in my long list. Then I start calling the guys who accepted, and I email the guys who haven't accepted yet that says something like connection request, and then, hey, I sent you a connection request, got this great job. I give them more details. Give me a call. If I don't hear back from them, I'll call them. So that's simply how I do most of my recruitment, is that simple workflow. And that's why Navigator for $79 and JobIn for $50, so you're $129, blows away, in my opinion, LinkedIn Recruiter for $600 a month. Go ahead, Ernie.
LinkedIn Recruiter is horrible, just so you know.
Question for you. When you send in the 100 connection requests and you say you wait 24 hours, is there a limit that within the 24 hours, like if it was 200 or 300 or?
No, LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator account, I think the limit is 100 a week you can send in connection requests. I think I could go back and look at it, but there's a limit that LinkedIn puts on you, right? And apparently there are some, like JobIn says, if you buy their top tier, they can bypass LinkedIn connection request limits. I don't know if that's true or not, right? But I limit it to 100 a week. Right? That's all I send, because I don't want to go to LinkedIn jail. I've never been in LinkedIn jail. I've never gotten any, for my SalesQL, for my JobIn, I've never gotten a single warning. Well, one time, very, very, very early on in my career, I got a warning for doing like a bunch of connection requests and then going on LinkedIn and doing stuff while that was running. And that's when they told me, hey, it works at human speed. So if you're sending a lot of connection requests during a workday, do not go on LinkedIn. But I think they've changed that since then.
So if you got 2 job orders, do you do 50-50? Do you do?
It depends on the job order, right? So, I mean, if it's a really tough one, I'm gonna do the connection request for the tougher ones, right? And then if I have like 2 other ones, I'm gonna kind of like balance it out. Maybe I'll only send these 30 people. Maybe I'll spend some time looking to see who's an open networker, who are my first degree connections, and send them messages. Like this is just a general how I do it. But you're right. If you're really busy, you get 5 searches in 1 week, and you have 50 candidates for each searches, yeah, you can send out 250 connection requests, so that you're going to have to kind of adjust it accordingly. I mean, that's a great problem to have, though.
The reason I ask is I did probably exceeded the 100, and I'm kind of waiting for others to come in, and then the way you laid it out is pretty nice, except sometimes 2 or 3 days later, somebody's joining, and like wondering, like, where do they fit?
So what you do is you tag. What I do is I tag. If I do 100, or let's say I do 50 connection requests for a job for a bottle washer in Chicago, I will tag them bottle washer Chicago, right? And then I do 50 for bottle manufacturing CEO in Iowa, and I'll call it bottle manufacturing Iowa. Every 24 hours, you can check. Just go into JobIn, hit that tag, and see how many are first degree connections, how many are second degree, how many outstanding connection requests you have. So you can filter it that way. But you have to remember, whenever you do whenever I do a JobIn, great. But if I go into Navigator, do a search of 300 people, I tag those people in accordance with whatever job that I'm working on that I have in Lox or in my applicant tracking system, right? So I know that these candidates are for this job, and I can sort them by that tag in JobIn, and then sort them by first degree, second degree, outstanding connection, etc. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
And then, that way you can check, right? Like you'll get some alerts. Oh, so and so connected with you. So and so connected with you. And you're like, oh, what job's that for? You just go right into JobIn, hit your tags real quick, and see who your new first degree connection. You can just put first degree connections and that tag, and it'll show them all. And if you had 5 in your applicant tracking system, and now there's 9, you have 4 new ones. And you just transfer those 4 new ones over. And chances are they're in your long list anyway. So you go in your applicant tracking system and drag and drop them real quick as first degree connections. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
yeah.
also, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I'm at like 22,000 now, and I've started to kind of back away from sending connection requests to a certain degree because, then all of a sudden, the hiring managers are just using their network,
Robert, can you, Thom, can you talk to withdrawing from JobIn?
Yeah, so you can, if you have 22,000, so your max amount of connections you're allowed to have on LinkedIn is 30,000. You max out at 30,000. You can't add any more after 30,000. One of the cool things that JobIn has is also you can withdraw or take or remove first degree connections, right? So you can go into JobIn.
Can you show that?
Yeah. I'll show everybody how this works. So you can go into JobIn and search all kind of different stuff, right? You can search people, like, I don't know about you guys, but in the beginning, anybody who sent me a connection request, I would take it, right? So I have a lot of people that are not from my industry or from other countries. So I did and searched everybody in the Philippines, India, all over Asia, see who they were, and I withdrew all those because they weren't relative to my industry, right? They were RPOs and people like that. So log in and give me a second.
Yeah, I never take those, but it's more like
I don't anymore.
Like
but back in the day, I mean, you get to the point where you're like, and then also retired people, like you could do that. You could go to your first degree connections. Like here's my JobIn. No, did not share. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, now you can. Okay, so here are all my contacts that I've pulled in from LinkedIn into JobIn. So I have 10,000, right? So if I search my LinkedIn tags, right? These are all my first degree connections, right? So I have 5,700, right? Now I can now search, let's see, like a keyword, right? Or title. Let's do title. Let's do retired. So all these guys are retired, right? Mike Bugby, Dwayne, Lance. So I could, theoretically, since they're all retired now, I should just, if I had too many, remove them. Right? So what you would do in this case is you select all, you come down here to more bulk actions and remove first degree connection. So if you are overloaded with connections, you can do this. If you just want to clean it up, right? So let's get over here and get rid of retired. Oops. And do locations, right? So we can do country. Let's do India. Right, so I can see how many people I have in India. I have 2 because I already cleaned it out. And this Ecolab, I know this guy, and then this is a Recruit CRM, which I helped did a demo on that. But and I could even let's accept, and then come here to and add in any other country you wanted, right? So you could come in. Oh, God dang it, their UI is has issues. So you could add Philippines. Oops, country, Philippines. And where I did another one where I had what's that country? Colombia. Right. Let's do that and hit accept. So I got 27 across the Philippines and Colombia. Now, if I had too many, right, I could just hit select all and remove them. You know, if you want to clean up your first degree connections, very easy, very simple way to do it. Another thing I tell people too is also you want to not have too many outstanding connection requests, right? So you can check, no, it's LinkedIn tags, sorry. LinkedIn tags is pending connection, must have, right? So I have, uh-oh. And JobIn, there we go. So pending connections, I have 226. So you go to the dashboard, you can see how many you have, and then you could withdraw your oldest, withdraw oldest invitations that are however many or however many days old they are, right? So I want anything that is, let's say weeks. So let's 20 weeks, right? Get rid of this and hit withdraw. Any connections that are older than 20 weeks, they're going to withdraw them for me, right? So this is running right now. And once that's run, it'll remove them. And you can see your operations in here. Like Ernie was asking about doing different, all those LinkedIn connection requests, right? I did 283 right here over a period of, in the last 7 days, I've sent out 283 LinkedIn connection requests. I've downloaded 1,600 full profiles, 182 with contact info. So, you know, you can see kind of where you are, and they do a health check for you, and whatnot. So there's a kind of, a lot of different ways you can do stuff. Go ahead, Ernie.
Before you leave that, I just wanted to mention that when you withdraw from JobIn, you can withdraw all 200, 300 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But if you did it, if you did it within LinkedIn, you'd have to do it one by one.
Mm-hmm.
God help you if you had 300 that you had to withdraw.
You could even do a sequence, right? You could do a sequence.
I've done that before. It sucks.
Yeah.
And you send it, and you have a week. You have to wait a week. You can send an invitation, right, to let's say 100 prospects. If they accept it, then you could have it do a condition here, assign it or whatever, or send them a message. You can do anything. Over here, while it's pending, if you wait a certain amount of time and then you send them an email, and you wait a little more time, you send them another email, and then you wait another more time, you send them another email, and then you could remove all the connections after this runs. If it went on for a month, then at the end of the month, just remove all the connections just to keep that going. Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
I just had a brain fart, man, after I clicked that. But no, one of the things with LinkedIn that I did a long time ago is I literally went through and unfollowed everybody. Just because the feed was just such a mess. Is there an option there to refollow people?
Unfollow or refollow? That's a good question, because following someone and connecting with them are two different things now, right?
Yeah, it used to automatically connect to them, so it used to automatically follow them. So I'm getting, my feed was just full of garbage. So I disconnect. I stopped following everybody, and now I'm like, what did I do? I shouldn't have done that. Should have been a lot more.
Yeah. So if I look at like this guy, right? So I sent him a connection request, right?
Like,
so am I following him too?
Now I just want to follow him because I already unfollowed him.
So how do you know if you follow someone? Oh yeah, so here. So if I unfollow him, am I still his first degree connection?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You just don't see everything you post
them
in your feed all day long.
Okay. So you want to figure out a way to refollow people?
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Like
exists. That's a good
maybe
question.
they were
I'll
a
have to
rep
ask them.
when I unfollowed them. Now all of a sudden they're a hiring manager. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's something I'll have to ask. I don't know. Does anybody here who use JobIn know the answer to that question?
So, just curious.
Yeah, I don't think there's. I'll look real quick if there's a follow under contacts. Yeah, come on. So we hit all, and then more bulk invitations. So we have delete, remove, auto update, add custom field, search similar profiles. Add, yeah, there's not one for follow. I'll send a message to them and ask if that's something that can be added. That's a good question. That's a good idea. Anybody else questions about JobIn or LinkedIn or following that I can answer? No?
You know if following on OG LinkedIn also affects your Sales Navigator feed? How does that work? Do you guys know? Because my Sales Navigator feed is a mess too.
Yeah, so's mine. And the what I've found with Sales Navigator, right, is that whenever you follow or save someone,
Yeah. It automatically goes into your feed, right?
Yeah, like I'll go over here. So like this Sunward Steel, this SK. I just happen to add a girl from Sunward and a guy from SK. I added to a lead list, and they automatically started putting this in here. So I don't. That's a good question. Here's lead list, and I can look through the leads list, right? So if I go to this row here, there's no alerts in that on any of the people in there. I guess that's how that works. Because you're right. There is so much. Like there's Ernie, there's Domenic, and these are like a suggested lead. Why are they a suggested lead? I'm connected with them as first degree connections.
Yeah.
And this is all alerts. And I guess you can filter by accounts. You can filter by account list, leads list. Yeah, this is. There's some really cool things. Go ahead.
Click view and see what that says. Or not view, but maybe the 3 dots or something.
This is the view. This is just a post you made.
Yeah.
That they're saying food for thought, right? So when I look at these, like here's Dominic's, there's Patrick. What was his? He says a Bob Marley song, right? Like why is that relevant? I don't know, right? So,
I honestly think
priority account
doing this just to make our jobs harder.
Yeah, they are. I mean, this is. I would love to have this run a little better.
Thom, look where it says sorted by relevance. Click that down button and see what it does.
Latest.
Oh, that's it.
So this is going to show everybody who I guess I'm first degree connections with or something. I don't know. Like why? What is the reason for showing me all these alerts?
Yeah.
Right, and then so.
Well, it depends on what you have in your settings. What do you have in your settings?
Where's the settings
if you
for
want
this?
It, click on your little face up in the top right. Like if you're looking for alerts, like if a company gets funding or something like that, you can set up alerts for that.
Okay, so new safe search results, Sales Navigator guidance updates, who viewed my profile, received shared custom list, top weekly notifications, received share relationships matched, in product notifications. Account just announced new funding, someone in the account viewed your profile, an account shared an update. Okay, so I guess you could theoretically go through and fix these the way you wanted, right? And then there's all the notifications here. And I guess settings back to here, seller profile, manage your LinkedIn settings, in-mail 150, add new. Yeah, I tried this persona thing. It didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. But for those of you who, is it Andy, were you the one that asked the question about the cost?
Yeah, I guess, I'm lucky that I'm leasing a LinkedIn seat from my old agency for a pretty good price, but I'm just like,
what are you paying?
I think I pay $600 a quarter for it for full.
Not bad.
Yeah, I get 100
Yeah.
in-mails. But I'm just sitting here and I was playing on People GPT this morning and I'm like, shit, this is a really good
Yeah, people's
option.
not bad. Yeah.
And then I was
But
just
there's
like,
so many like that.
there are. And I've just always sent in-mails and ran, because I do mostly executive search. I've always done the email, and I was just curious if people had experience with good response rate with just sending emails and putting it into a drip campaign. And I know a lot of
Kelly?
recruiters are starting to ditch LinkedIn recruiter. So just kind of curious.
Yes.
I just ditched LinkedIn. There's a nightmare.
Ask her about. She was asking about drip campaigns versus in-mails. Andy was asking, response rate on in-mails versus drip campaigns. And this is and Craig, we'll get to you in a second. And you're saying, Andy, for recruiting or for business development?
For recruiting specifically.
Okay. Kelly?
You can do a lot more with drip campaigns through email than you can through LinkedIn. Plus, you can get much better stats, obviously, on who's opening, how many times, all of those things. InMail is just, is archaic.
Yeah. I've never had success with email. I've always had success with the connection request. Go ahead, Craig.
So I've done email drip campaigns for executive search, and I've had pretty good luck. But the one thing you do have to be careful of is at the executive level, they don't always read their own emails.
Right.
So, you have to sometimes come at it from an oblique way and say, hey, I'm looking for a referral for a CFO. Is there anybody in your network that might fit? And then that way it's signal to them that, hey, this guy's, recruiting for CFOs. I should be interested.
Get their personal email.
Yeah, if you can find that, that's always better, right?
Like anybody in the world has a Gmail account.
Yeah, I see the gatekeepers for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I've had pretty good success with email on executives.
Are you using LinkedIn Recruiter by chance, or is it just email?
I'm using Sales Navigator, so I don't do a whole lot of in-mails.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
pull
we're
your...
all big Sales Navigator users just because of we don't use in-mails really, and the search parameters are relatively very, very similar. And the cost difference, if you're not getting it like you are, you're paying $600-700 a month versus $79.
Right.
Yeah, and I've got Navigator. So basically, just do the search via Navigator, pull that list into Dripify or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever's, and then just send out the, okay.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it,
it.
Ernie. Yeah. Ernie?
Yeah, I was going to say, going back to that follow question, if you go to My Network, you can see under Manage My Network, there's a following and followers on the left. And when you do that, you can go in there and pretty much delete or unfollow people if you like.
Can you refollow?
Yes.
Can you refollow?
Yeah, okay, so it shows who you're following.
I don't know how you do it on a volume basis, though. I mean, anytime you...
No, I don't. That I don't know, but that's kind of like if they had that on JobIn, it's kind of like goes towards the the request.
So you should be able to very quickly just hit one or another. Yeah, you could really easily follow people. I'm only following 94 people.
Yeah,
of course, Andy. And so, okay, you're following 94 people out of your network. That's what that is. And 5,582 people are following me. So I'm following them back, right? So if you click, okay, so go to the one that says followers. And then if you're following your followers, right?
Show it on your screen.
Okay, so here. Robert, are you there, Robert?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so here we are. So you go to My Network, okay? And you come over here as connections, contacts, and followers, right? So the first thing that comes up is who you're following that you're not connected to. So there's 93 people that I'm following that I'm not connected to. See you, Andy. For followers, right? I'm following, or no, I'm sorry, 5,582 people are following me, right? And then I can scroll and see who I'm following. But if you come down a little further, you'll see that I'm not following Victoria Butcher. I'm not following Forrest Blake. I'm not following Jeff, right? So really quickly, if I wanted to, I could just click follow, 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 right? All you do is that, and it's one thing. So Robert, you could come in and just very quickly hit follow, 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 follow the ones you wanted to follow, because it's just a one click. There is no, are you sure? Like when you unfollow, do you want to unfollow? You have to do that. But the follow is very easy. So
well, it's easy unless you're looking at 20,000. You have to do, you know.
yeah. Well, and I'm wondering, could you somehow narrow it down? I don't know if you can narrow it, but yeah. But I'll send a message to JobIn. That looks like it probably could be a relatively easy workaround for them. Can you add a follow or unfollow button? That's kind of a neat idea.
Popular, that's all.
Yeah, like I'm following Robert. And that's interesting. Very interesting. Good question, Robert. That's one I'm gonna have to follow up with. That's a good question. Okay, more questions, concerns, demos, typing mind, JobIn, Loxo, SalesQL, Chrome extensions. Saunders, go ahead.
So I understand Kelly had a question about using. I don't want to take up everything on automation.
Oh, that's right. Make. Do you want to ask
make
questions about
versus
make?
Use cases. We're looking for use cases for automation.
Yep. So you had a question about using N8N. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, I think N8N, which is open source one. I think she'd be better with Zapier or Make.
Yeah. So
I don't think I wanted, but I just was like, what do I use this for?
we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I use the automation to summarize my phone calls and add them to Loxo.
Okay.
So I've got an automation set up that will, I hit end on the call, I save it as a certain file name, and then as soon as I drop it into a folder, the recording is transcribed, it is summarized by ChatGPT. There's a summary that then gets added to the activity section in Loxo. It all happens automatically. Those are my candidate notes. And then of course I can go in and edit those if I want. I do have a similar automation for MPC candidates. So it automatically creates my anonymous MPC presentation and that sort of thing. So there is a use case for it, but it's somewhat limited. I will tell you that I think Make is pretty powerful, but I just started messing around with N8N. And everyone is screaming about this, about how much more customizable and powerful that is than even Make. It is open.
Do you have to understand nodes and all that? It looked very technical.
It's the same thing. They just call that. So in Make, they call it a scenario. And each of those little app connections is called a module. And at N8N, those are called nodes. So it's the same thing with a different name, if that makes sense.
Okay. So here, this is Make's templates that are already pre-built. So for example, summarize emails with Gmail and OpenAI and then send it to Slack. You could change this, summarize emails with Gmail, OpenAI, and send it to Google Sheets, to wherever you want it. That's the thing about this, especially like with our applicant tracking system, Kelly, with the open API, you can have a lot of this go right directly into Loxo if you wanted it to. But these are already made, and all you got it. Like if you wanted to post new Facebook page post to another Facebook page, like I could use this probably to figure out a way to use this to do one post to all the groups for the roundtable, right? Yeah. And a save Gmail email to a Google Sheets is a new row, right? So every time you get an email from someone, right, you could have it, put it into a Google Sheets format for you. The use cases are somewhat unlimited. It's just hard to kind of wrap your brain around what we could use, right? Like what could we use it for that what is Huff? I talked to Hufflow today, and he said, "Does it make you money? Does it save you money? Does it make your life easier, or does it save you time?" Right. So one of these may save us time. Right. There may be one of these that like saves you time, something that you do all the time that you don't think about because you just always do it, and this may do it.
Okay.
That's what this is, and I'm like you, trying to wrap my head around. I read through these and go, "Wow, that's not going to help me. That's not going to help me." But you could have it just move folders for you, right? Every time, like for me, I use Microsoft 365, right? So whenever a client sends me, or whenever a candidate sends a resume, it's automatically saved into the attachments file of 365. Well, you could use Make to have that resume that's saved in the attachments file automatically send it to Loxo and create a candidate inside of Loxo, or update the candidate's profile. Is that right, Craig?
Yeah. So another example is if candidates are constantly sending you resumes in your email, you can have the automation constantly search your email every 10 or 15 minutes. If it finds an email with an attachment that has the title resume, or the subject in the email is called resume, or in the text of the email it says resume, then it downloads the resume into a particular folder. That could be Dropbox, it could be Google Drive, it could be MS 365, whatever they call their service. And then you could even add that to Loxo if you wanted. So there is some, it saves you time, and that you don't have to necessarily go and download and save it and figure out where you want to save it and then upload it to Loxo. So it does do some cost or time savings there.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's working through that, I think, to get that to work and make sure it's running properly. That's always been my problem. I spent 45 minutes just trying to get it to move one file from one folder to another. I had to call Craig because we were messing it up, right? So there's some stuff that needs to be fixed in there, and you need to know what you're doing, or you can screw things up. And you think you've got it all set, and these emails are coming in, you're like, oh, every time this email comes in, it's going right to Loxo, and then it doesn't. Go ahead, Ernie.
No, that was kind of the question I was going to ask, because I know Craig is like PhD and all of this stuff, and I'm like a kindergartner. And so to ask how simple is it? And then that's number one question, number one. And number two thought is, it seems like every day something new is coming out that is, you got Make, and then there's Make Plus, and then there's a third one or a fourth one that come out. When do you guys know how to switch? When do you know how to go to a better app?
That's a great question.
I was
talking about, so I was talking about how everybody on YouTube and the Discord and Reddit is talking about N8N all of a sudden. And I think it's the next coming.
I'll show that.
That's a great question, Ernie, because I don't know. I mean, I think it goes back to what Tommy was saying. If it saves you money or saves you time and it does it better or it's cheaper, then maybe it's time to switch. But if it's not broken, fix it.
So I should continue faxing that.
So this is a good example. So Craig helped me make this, right? This is the one we were talking about. What happened was, every so much often, Make would look at a particular file folder, and then if a file with a certain name was in there, it would move it to this file folder, download it in a file, and then move it to here, right? We were just trying to do a simple automation. I wanted to see how this worked, right? So that's as simple as it is. Once one folder, if a file is in there, download the file and move it to this folder. That was the simplest automation you could think, right? So every time an email attachment gets downloaded to the OneDrive file, I want it moved to the resume file. Something as simple as that, right? And with the open API with Loxo, you could have it go, once it gets here, right, then it automatically gets downloaded into Loxo. And if the no candidate exists, you create the candidate. If candidate does exist, it updates its profile. Right? Simple as that. So the other one they were talking about is Nate, right? So you have a start, Google Sheets, drop contact, limb list. There's all these different use cases that they have shown here. When contact created, get contact email address, validate the email. If email is sufficient, then send to Slack, right? Or whatever, right? So a lot of people talk about email automation. You could create your own email automation with, Kelly uses, what do you use, Kelly?
Sorry, I was multitasking. For email, you mean?
Yeah.
Smart lead.
Email campaigns. Smart Lead, yeah. So you could have this connected to Smart Lead. So every time you drop contacts into a certain folder, they automatically upload to Smart Lead in a particular campaign. You know, that's what these things, and it's 2.5 thousand workflow executions. Is that a lot, Craig?
Yeah, that's yeah, but the limitation on N8N is 5 down below, 5 concurrent executions. So you can only run 5 scenarios at the same time. So 5 workflows at the same time. So that's their starter pack. That's their cloud hosted version, meaning that they just run everything on the back end. If you want to self-host this and save yourself some money, you can, but it's a little more complicated. In fact, it's a lot more complicated. You have to download it, install it on a virtual private server somewhere, set up your back-end database. You have to have some technical knowledge on how to do that.
Yeah, we're gonna be real tough for them. But you can look and see. Oh, they have templates. I didn't even notice this.
Yeah,
so
they have
all these workflow templates. Here's marketing, right? So social media contact generator, and then publish it to Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. Is there an email one? HR, design, building blocks, sales. I know what sales says. Enrich LinkedIn profiles from Google Sheets. So when they say enrich LinkedIn profiles, like getting the phone numbers, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, the use cases here are pretty cool.
So the biggest thing is, and when you're trying to figure out how to use these things, is literally sit down and map out what each of your workflows. Like, okay, I'm looking for a candidate. I find a candidate, and then what do I do with them? Do I email them? Do I call them? Like, and what happens after I call them? And literally map out every single step in your process. And then when you get to the end, then work backwards on how you can maybe automate that, right? So it ends up as a note in your CRM. How do I get that note into my CRM and work backwards from there? And that's how you build the automation.
Robert?
Oh, I was just going to ask you were talking about bulk, that it automatically exports your resumes into a certain file. Like I name mine last name, first name, does it do that, or how does? Oh
yeah, rename the Yeah, it'll rename the folders for you, the files for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Could you do that, Craig? Okay, anytime I drop a file into this folder, scan the document, see what the name of the person is in the document, because it's a resume, and then rename the document, that person's last name and that person's first name, and then move it to my resume file. Could you do that?
Yes, you can do that. You'd have to use ChatGPT or some other AI to do it, but yes, you can absolutely do that.
That's pretty cool. So anytime he dropped a resume, no matter what it was called, resume.do, Tom's new resume, whatever, he drops it into the file that Make is looking at, it would then scan it, rename it, and put it into his resume file. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Ernie?
Can you, is it possible if you had a Word file of resumes, and just say for a number, just say it's 200 resumes. Can you ever get that file to go into like one of the ATSs?
Loxo.
Yes,
Loxo.
You absolutely can.
Loxo would do that?
You could take,
Yep.
If you had 100 resumes and you attached them to an email and then emailed it to your Loxo dedicated email, and it'll say something like Loxo.nextlevelexchange@loxo.com or whatever. You email that and they'll automatically get parsed into Loxo, which is even cooler. And this is what I used to do before some of the other Chrome extensions. I would do a search in LinkedIn, right? And open up 40 tabs and then hit download PDF on each person. Then I'd have like 50 PDFs of each of the search I did. I drag those into an email and email it to the Loxo job. When you go to a Loxo job, there's numbers at the end. If you put those numbers in the subject, all those resumes or PDFs or whatever will go into that job in the source list. That was my workflow long before I figured out what Sales Navigator and everything was. I would do a search. I would download every single person's You know what I'm talking about, right? Remember the old school? You could do it on Navigator too, right? The LinkedIn profiles changed, right? And there was 2 different versions. Now it's just all one version. You can only download it on OG LinkedIn, I think. But it used to be you could download them on Navigator or OG and Recruiter and OG LinkedIn. So I would download them because it used to be just like a one click and have all these tabs open, like 50 tabs open, download all 50 candidates PDFs from Loxo or from LinkedIn, drag them into an email and send them to Loxo. That was my workflow.
Cool.
Because it at least gave you enough info, because using the Loxo Chrome extension was such a pain in the ass, right? You know, one at a time. This way I could download 50 PDFs real quick and send them to Loxo and they would all populate into the job.
If you used an automation, well, if you had, and I've got this, we got old MRI guys on the phone here. So, for example, I've got literally thousands of emails in my Gmail from when I was with an MRI office that have resumes attached. I've never gotten around to doing this. You could have the automation extract all those resumes, rename them, find them in your CRM, and upload them to that particular candidate's profile in your CRM. Loxo, Crelate, whatever it is, as long as it has an open API.
That's wild. So you actually have your old email address when you were at MRI and you have a gazillion resumes sitting in there?
Yep,
Wow.
I've probably got 2,000 or 3,000 resumes at least that I've never been able to do anything with. So that's on my very long to-do list.
Half of them are retired or dead.
Yes, probably.
Exactly.
Probably. But I mean,
That's
you guys
funny.
know this. If you have a guy that's now a hiring manager, maybe he's now an engineering manager or a senior engineering manager. If you have his resume from way back when, there might be contact information on there that you don't have anymore because you only have his LinkedIn stuff, right? You only have and he doesn't have his phone number listed or something like that. So that's you can sort of triangulate your contact information with those old resumes.
Thom, you had mentioned you were with Big Biller before, right?
Yeah.
When I was with Big Biller, left them for about 10 years, whatever. And then I reopened my Big Biller account. And all of my old emails were there. All of my old contacts were there.
Oh, I'm sure they probably were. Yeah.
Yeah, so
They probably don't delete all that stuff. It probably just stays there. They have a giant Amazon web server.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that just in case you wanted to go see if there was something you had lost in the file in transition or whatever, the notes and everything else were there. It was kind of interesting.
This is what I was talking about. This is the old OG LinkedIn resume that you would download. Do you guys remember when it looked like this?
Oh yeah.
Right now it looks like this. Oh, where did I do with it? Now it looks like this, right? With all this stuff on it. But the OG one, so these were the ones I would download, and I could probably go look through my Google Drive, and I have thousands of these. And these are the ones where I would just drop every single one of these into an email and email it into Loxo. So on my really old jobs, I could find 60, 70 of these is what we used. But I like that, that would be interesting. I on all my older emails just to have it, because I don't delete anything. So go in and extract every use Make or something, just extract every single resume attachment in my. Oh, you know what I could do it to? My old PR search when I first started the company in 2011. Just extract all those resumes just so I have them. Not a bad idea.
Hey, how do you guys go about, because we're talking so much about automation and let's say you're doing a search. It doesn't matter if it's engineering, sales, whatever it is, and they may have 5 to 7 people in a given geography that can do the job, or an engineering department that has, let's say, 10 people. There's probably, you want the top 2, okay? You want the top 2, let's say, per se. But you've emailed all 8 of them. How do you go about not being just getting the people that respond versus the best of the best? Because all this automation, it's really, it's the people that are responding or what have you. But I found that, you know, not even with just automation, but even if it's just sending messages on LinkedIn, you spend so much time with people that when in reality, out of those 6 people, you should have just picked up the phone and gotten, you know, reached out to 1 or 2, you know?
Well, that's why I said in my process,
I'm just curious on you guys' input on
I
that.
touch everybody. I touch everybody with a connection request, an email, and a phone call, right? So when I do a search, right, that's what I was talking about. So in my process is, let's take your sales position, right? You have a sales position and you find 15 people that are all good, right? Is that what you're saying, Robert? They all look good.
No, I'm saying 15 people may work for the same company. They may, you know, I target companies more so than I do specific, you know, keywords and stuff like that. I'm looking for who does this, or who's the product engineer for John Deere, and John Deere is going to have 40 product engineers in Des Moines. So you end up.
So I'm going to send all 40 a connection request.
And what you should be doing is just talking to the person and asking, okay, who's the one person you know that doesn't have 3 kids in baseball or what have you, and not that they're looking to move, but my job's in Georgia. You know, save me some time. I don't want to talk to everybody in the department.
I mean, that's all. Yeah, we could do that, but the reason I do it that way is I feel like I could touch every single person quickly, right? So I send a connection request to all 40 of those project engineers at Caterpillar, right? And whoever accepts my connection request, that's my first phone call, right? Yeah. So they haven't messaged back, they just accepted that. I have their contact information now. I don't have to waste any time. I can call them. After 24 hours, the ones who haven't accepted my connection request, they get put into the other part of my workflow where they get an email reminding them I sent them a connection request. By the time I've called all the ones who accepted my connection request, those people are going to email me back or decided to connect, and then I'm going to call them. And then the ones who don't respond, I'm going to call. So at the end of the day, I feel like I've touched all 40 people if I need to. Like that's how I look at a search.
All of them. It's just a matter at that point, it's a commodity, and you're less likely to, you know, say, you know, you're less likely.
But do you think that you'll get the answers to your question though as you start talking to these people?
You're absolutely not going to get the answer to your question if you've already talked to 8 people from there. They're not going to share any information with you.
How do they know that they talked?
They talk. I mean,
okay. So I
talk. You know, regional teams talk. They talk. They know.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're worried about the interconnecting. Steve, you had a comment?
So Robert, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you looking at 8 people, and maybe you haven't spoken to them all, but you're just trying to find the very best amongst them?
At one company.
Yes.
At one company.
At one company.
You know, one of the best questions that I ever heard that I use a lot, and it's just a sports sort of thing. Hey, if you're putting together a team of 5, let's say it's a basketball team. If you were to put together a team of 5, who would you want on your team?
Yeah.
Catch them off guard, and they'll tell you who amongst their group a lot of times they admire the most. I think we've gotten away, especially the new recruiters, have gotten away from picking up that phone and asking those questions that people need to hear and to respond to in that human touch. I mean, Kelly, for all intents and purposes, you're the grand madame of emails, but you do a lot of conversations too, don't you?
I do, but I find that you need everything.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I guess what I'm saying is some of the new people are touting their ability to get you a crap ton of appointments with their magnanimous email situations, and hey, that was cool about 3 years ago.
Yeah, but you know, if you want to scale, you need email. Like I work, a lot of the people the candidates and the people I'm trying to reach are either in a lab or they're like, they're not phone, they're not in front of a computer.
Absolutely.
And it's easier for them, especially like candidates who work in some kind of manufacturing setting. You're calling them when they're on the manufacturing floor and they're going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Don't call me here.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
know,
used,
and so
I
they
used to,
want you to text. If you text them, they're going to be really happy with that.
yeah, I used to
Go ahead,
recruit
Brent.
pharmacists,
Oh, sorry. When
pharmacists.
Steve's done.
Yeah, pharmacists and doctors that I used to recruit, they're not going to pick up that phone. So yeah, there are applications for all this. You need to use them all simultaneously.
And Brett,
Yeah.
before you go, one thing I say, Robert's kind of different too, because I can tell you very rarely do I have 10 people from one company all in the same department that I recruit, right? And maybe one or two, right? Because I'm looking for an EIT with 2 years experience. You're not going to have 10 EITs with 2 years experience in one division. You may have two. Go ahead, Brent.
Where do you folks get your phone numbers for your business numbers, not mobile numbers? Because I've got Apollo, but they seem to be kind of weak in finding business numbers.
SalesQL and Loxo.
Even SalesQL is weak, in my opinion.
Okay. What was that?
Between the two, you're looking for business or personal, right? Which one?
I want their work cell phone number.
Business.
Me too.
I like business when I do biz dev.
Yeah, so business numbers is usually easy. I mean, most of the I'm surprised you're not finding them. That's the easiest one for them to get, right? Because they're public information. Their business line, right? So SalesQL works good for that. Loxo works good for that. Loxo and SalesQL both do okay on cell phone numbers. It's hit or miss, right? And a lot of it has to do with, I always tell people, you can get free credits. You get 5 with SalesQL, you get 5 with JobIn, you get 5 with Signal Hire, you get 5 with Rocket Reach, right? Try them out because it goes by industry too, right? Like some industries, there's 6 or 7 providers, or maybe 10, and across those 10 providers, some do better for certain industries. Now, there's this new thing out there called waterfall enrichment, and there's 2 companies that are I know Clay does it, right? And it gets expensive. And then there's one that Rich Rosen had recommended that does, it's waterfall enrichment, and you pay for it, but it goes through all 10 providers to find you the information. So that's expensive. Now, on a onesie twosie level, been verified. I pay $30 some bucks a quarter.
That's personal.
Yeah, it'll give you all the and it will give you a work number if they have a work number. Believe it or not, you have to look down on the thing when you do a bin verified search. And I can pull it up. It'll show every phone number ever associated with them, and it'll say full enrich. Is that what it is? So it'll show every phone number ever associated with them, right? So if you pull up my bin verified, it shows my office number, it shows my old company's phone number, right? It shows everything. And you just have to, but the thing with that is you have to really kind of, it's one at a time, right? So I'll share this with you real quick to show you how it works. But this is, it's cheap because it's $30 a quarter or whatever. My right screen here, yeah. So I'll do me, right? Thomas ALascio. And this is me right here in Annapolis, right? So I'll look here. And then when you see, they'll show you everything that's ever been associated with me that they could find. So this is, that's my cell phone. This is my Gmail, right? And then if we go to contact info, we go to phone numbers 10, right? So that's my old house phone. This is the office number, right? My wife's mobile. This is Peterson Consulting Group, my old recruiting firm, right? And then email addresses, right? It's going to show PR Search, my ALascio one, Thomas at PR Search Inc., ALascio at Online PCG.com, and Thomas at my old search firm, right? Those are there too. So it'll show all my address history, where I've lived, and this is where I live now. This is where I lived in Florida before we moved. Another house I owned in Florida, apartment I rented in Baltimore, my office location, but it's no longer there. Apartment I lived when me and Becky first started dating. This is where I lived in Ocean City in 1989, right? Like that's the stuff they grab. Like this is Peterson Consulting Group's old email, old location, new location, right? Peterson Consulting Group's when I first started working for them in 1997, that was the address. No, that's my old. I'm sorry. That's a house I bought in '94. Sorry. So yeah, this is when me and Becky were dating in Florida, like in Orlando. This is my house when I grew up in. Right. So that's how crazy my office in Bethesda. So, but you're going to have to do this one at a time, right? And I use this as the last resort, right? So I did a search. I found 20 guys, and there's one guy I really got to get a hold of. And SalesQL is not finding nothing. Loxo is not finding nothing. So I'll go to Bin Verified and get phone numbers. That's what I use that for.
I was just laughing because the stories you can make up and telling the addresses, like, okay, this was when I was in a foster home, and this is when they put me in. And this is when I got it.
Dude, I'm looking at this going, holy shit, it goes back so far. It goes back like
that's gotten me in more trouble.
That's my halfway house.
What'd you say, Robert?
It's gotten me in more trouble than it's worth. You end up calling their sister or somebody else that's, associated.
Dude, I made a placement for $30,000 because I called the guy's tattoo parlor and asked if I could speak to him. They'd send him a message. Well, so what? Leave a message with his sister. Say, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of John. I'm a headhunter. You got nothing to lose.
No, it's a last resort. Yeah, I mean, but if you can get this work sell, I mean, because you can spend all day calling 6 numbers that you've got on there. No names.
Like I said, that's a last resort. Yeah, that is a last resort. If I can't get it, and SalesQL, Loxo, JobIn, all the other stuff, because I got some other stuff too. If I can't get it, I go there.
You got True People Search too.
That's what I do. True People.
Yeah. And I bought Use Artemis and Cloudora off AppSumo for like $60 a piece, and they give me 7,000 credits a month for lookups. It's mostly just emails. I never use them. So if anybody ever needs a big bulk amount of getting emails, let me know. I got 7,000 with Cloudora and 7,000 with Use Artemis, and mostly only gets work emails is what it gets.
Yeah.
Okay. Work Artemis, you said it is?
Use Artemis.
Okay.
I bought on an AppSumo. I don't even know if you can buy it anymore. Like, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Karsten Fox, and he does every 6 months or so, he'll do a contact software review, right? And he has a spreadsheet in the contact. You can look at the results, and it'll tell you what the cost is, what the results are. And believe it or not, I know you a lot of people here are like poo-poo on SalesQL. It ranks is one of the top 5 out there. The best one he says is Zoom Info, but it's ridiculously expensive, right? But I've not. I had Zoom Info for a month, and it was okay.
Yeah. It's not ridiculously expensive if you get their Talent OS, and
yes, it is.
No, it's not.
There's a guy who's got 3. He's got 3 or 4 seats.
I got 3 seats, and I buy it as part of a group buy. So, but anyways, it's okay, But don't pay 10 grand for it. Don't pay 10 grand.
Like this is Use Artemis, right? So it's a campaign feature here, right? I can do campaigns with it. And you can find they actually have, like, I did some stuff like that. They keep changing stuff on me, but just to give you an idea, here's my thing. My credit, 7,000.
Can you upload a CSV, Tommy, in that?
Yep.
A CSV?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's what you do is
yeah.
So like, for example, I uploaded this one here. This was a search I was doing for an electrical maintenance guy in Arkansas, and you uploaded it. And it shows you. You
got to hit the enrichment, yeah.
Yeah, so they're enriching it right now, but it is supposed to show this stuff, but this doesn't work. If you download the people from Navigator, the only one that works with Navigator is JobIn. The rest of them don't, and I don't know why.
So,
but you could.
Lead Rocks is on AppSumo, and I'm happy to give people my referral code if you don't.
Is it any good?
Lead Rocks?
Yeah.
I've never used it, but your buddy you brought on from the UK, that top
Harry?
Harry.
Harry?
Yeah, Harry Lactose. He's like it's something, right? You know, but if you're trying to find that unicorn, everybody's got Lead Rocks and Apollo, and all those have basically the same information. but it's only $79 one time, so it's or $89 depending on which package you choose. So.
But you know, I use Lead Delta and Cambox. I mean, I bought them. I just don't say I use them. But does anyone still use those at all?
I stopped using Cambox when I went to JobIn.
Yeah, I still use Canbox a little bit, but the last time I asked it to send 100 connection requests, it did it like that. I was like, don't get me banned right now. Right? I want it to be like more casual misrepresentation of my automation use.
So here's the other one, Kelly. My credit usage is I have 20,000 contact views, and it shows what I've used, and they keep up. It's ridiculous, right? Because I have a lifetime plan. But this is the results they gave me on my saved contacts, like right here. You know, they got me some mobile numbers, right? And they got all the work emails. And then you can, a search partner is, you can buy credits for, pardon me?
What is this you're looking at? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
This is Cloudora. This is Cloudora.
Okay.
Right. So this is the one I paid, like I said, I paid 40 or 50, 60 bucks for this or whatever. And they give me, I guess they give me 20,000 credits now. You know, and you can actually, they have a search thing too, where you can search like you can do location, you know, United States. And I've let people borrow this because I don't use it, but it seems to be getting better. So I might try it. Like, okay, so state, it's going to be Maryland.
Yeah, so
right?
I think this is primarily a prospecting tool. I've got this too, and I use it. I've used it for prospecting. I don't know it's great for recruiting, but I think it's good for prospecting.
Yeah, because you can look up if they have job postings, location, security, like security and function. Search by title. Let's do structural engineer. Okay, so 162 contacts, right, in Maryland, and they staff structural. There's, you know, and it shows their companies where they work, and then you can just click view email because I have all these credits, right, and it gives you their email.
The one thing I do think that's nice about this is if you click that little, like right below their name, there's the little, what do they call it? Yeah, that. It will try to create the org chart. And some of them are actually built out pretty well.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That it depends on which one you're looking at, but like this one has like infrastructure. It'll show the vice president infrastructure, Chad and Mike, and then underneath him, there's more, and then underneath him, and you can go right to their LinkedIn profile. Oh, here, this is something that might check it out. Watch this. See if it works. Yeah, so I can grab every single person on this page with the JobIn extension because of this LinkedIn URL right here.
You think it would grab the phone numbers and everything else?
No, that it won't. It'll only grab their LinkedIn URL and add them to Loxo. But this works on JobIn. Any place that has a HTML website with a LinkedIn profile, you can use the JobIn extension on it and grab everybody. So you go to a company's directory and all their employees are on there with their little LinkedIn. You can click the JobIn extension and it'll grab every single one of those people and stick it in the JobIn for you. And you can see if they're open to work, a first degree connection, whatever, and then send them a connection request.
How's the Loxo JobIn connection integration?
We haven't heard anything since they told us it was happening. We have not heard a single thing.
I talked with Tim, and they have some additional discussions happening or something. I'm not sure. I know it's Quill, so who knows?
And what's this one cost that you're showing here, Thom?
This was it was on AppSumo for $79. Right? I don't even know if it still exists.
How many AppSumos did you buy?
Let's see.
When you're
I'll tell you
during
right
your
now.
AppSumo addiction days.
So I got upticks, right, which is a piece of shit. Or no, ClickReach. Sorry, ClickReach. I bought this for oh god, it doesn't even work anymore. Does ClickReach even work? That's hilarious.
I'm
So
sure they're
I bought
sending you that.
ClickReach.
I'm sure they're
ClickReach
refunding
doesn't
you.
even work anymore.
Put
Let
an
me see
M
if
on
it's
there, man.
a shield problem. Hold on. Yeah, so I bought this
I don't
for.
think
I thought it was
I
going to
think it's
be.
an AppSumo problem.
I think. Well, a ClickReach I bought like 2 years ago because I thought it was going to be the next upticks. That's why it was only $49. Right? It's an outreach. Right? So I bought that. I bought Canbox, Use Artemis, Cloudora. Oh, I love this one. Social Monials. This is the one I use to post to LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. So I can do like multi-post, and this is my calendar, so it'll show when the posts are going out, right? So I have, let's do next week. Right now I have, this is going to go to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. These are going to go out on that day. This one's going to go out, and this one's going to go out. So all these posts will go out. They're scheduled, and I can schedule these weeks, months, years in advance. And if you're really into this stuff, you can set up campaigns. They have reports where you can see what each platform's doing. You can put them in different categories. That for people who really are into social media posting, this is actually a cool tool. I just strictly use it so I can spend 30 minutes one day a month and put up a whole bunch of, and it shows your engagement, right? Your clicks, conversions, leads, sales.
I use Publer. Does this one preview your post? Because Publer
Yes.
can preview your post as far as mobile or desktop, so you can
Yep.
you can
Right
set
here.
it up.
So watch.
I don't think it does the mobile, Kael, but it does the desktop. That's what
Okay.
Tommy's showing you.
Okay, good. Yeah, and this one's
that's what it'll look like. This is
Yeah.
what it'll look like. And if you put it on like YouTube, it'll show you. I guess I got rid of my Instagram, but like it'll show you how each one's going to look.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, I don't know if you know this, but if you go over to each individual platform, you can actually edit it within the platform. So for example, Twitter, you're limited to so many characters. You can have a long post
you can
in
make
Facebook
it okay.
and a shorter in Twitter.
Oh, so you can edit it right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that because I don't post on Twitter or any of that stuff. I just do the LinkedIn, Recruiter Roundtable, Flammer Roads, and my own regular, and then the Palermo Roads Facebook. And I should probably add the Recruiter Round. I should probably update this. I haven't in a while. But yeah, this was $49, and they have AI writer that even though I bought it, it'll write for you even though because I get the premium, you can do the social media writing. So Robert, go ahead.
Now you've shown a screen a time or two that I'm not familiar with it. It looks like it has all your social media apps and that type of thing. It was
this.
Yeah, what is that?
This is called SSAR. Yeah, Start Me. I discovered this because this guy right here, which you may have heard, this is Dean DaCosta. And Dean, hold on. Dean has always shared. Pardon me?
Can you send me that?
Yeah, so this is Dean's page. Dean's always updating this. This is everything that you could use, like so search tools, miscellaneous tools, phone mail lookups. He's updating this, and he shows you when he updates it. And plus, he has other pages, right? So I learned this. He's got here. You click on this, and it shows his other A1 sourcing supersets, OSIIT, right? So he's got all this, right? So I'll drop this for Dean in here and in the chat for you guys right now. So grab it.
Would you drop yours as well? Because I'd lost yours.
Yeah, I'll drop mine too. And I'm more than happy to share mine. And when you and this is free to sign up for, right? So I have the free version. So if you go to mine here, and I'll share this link with you all. So you'll open up mine, but you can then, what you can do, I'll show you this real quick. There's mine coming. So let's say you like all the LMI stuff I use, right? What you would do, and I'm going to go back to Dean's for a second. We'll go to sourcing superset. Once you sign up and start your page, you can click right here and go add to my page, right? So if I wanted to, I could add this research page of his to my page. Add to my page, right? And then that's how I did. If you look at my page, I'll show you. I'll go back to my page. So on my page right here, I copied this from Dean. I copied another one from Dean. Can't remember. Oh, yeah, maps, geo, email scrapers, and cost of living, right? So I just took what he had and threw it on there, right? And I also have these other pages. I have my other page, right, that I was messing around with. And this is all from Dean. Copy of, copy of, copy of. I took this from Dean's pages, right? And then I have another one called Dean's Gold, right, that I copied from his page that I have in here. And then his A1 sourcing set I kept. And then on my pages, I also have right here, another guy's page. Let me see if I can find it. AI, Eugene Chat. Oh, this guy. This guy's got a great AI ChatGPT page with all this prompt engineering and the downsides of ChatGPT and OpenAI API, all this stuff. So I have this saved too. Whenever I have issues, I come in and look at this stuff. And he just added this alternative tools, right? So this guy's name's Seraph, and he's got a crypto dashboard, which I'm not into, but this AI ChatGPT. So when you download my page, it's right here. Actually, sorry. The one that says ChatGPT all info. So on my page under all ChatGPT, the fourth one down underneath Dean's, ChatGPT all info is the one if you want that guy's AI stuff.
Thom, two questions.
Sure.
Two questions. I saw when you at some point you had a sidebar that had Loxo and JobIn Cloud. Was that your Start Me page, or was that something else? So, because I'm looking at, I really don't want to add JobIn Cloud to my tech stack, but if I do, I want to be able to switch in and out of Loxo and JobIn Cloud really quickly. How do you usually do that? I thought you had a bit of a sidebar from that, or what is that?
Yeah,
sidebar?
I do. Like I can. Are you talking about like this? Like where I go from here to here to here? Is that what you're talking? Like, Kael, I'm on JobIn right now. I go right to Loxo.
And what's the side? What's the sidebar?
This is just vertical tabs on Brave. If you're still using Chrome, somebody should come and hit you in the head with a hammer, and then make you go to Brave. Right? Chrome sucks. Chrome sucks up energy. It's a shitty. It's got no privacy anymore. You can't.
We can talk about your use of Microsoft Outlook another time too.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take that L. That's no problem. But yeah, so this is this is called side. It's a setting in Brave, right, for just tabs on the side. So these are all the tabs I have open on the side versus across the top, right? And it's just a very simple way to navigate through everything.
Yeah. Okay. And your process right now is you're sourcing from both Loxo Source and JobIn Cloud.
Navigator. No, a Navigator.
You're trying
JobIn
Sales
Cloud
Navigator
is strictly
first.
Yeah, Sales Navigator, Loxo Source, Sales Navigator using JobIn Cloud to put it into JobIn so I can send them a LinkedIn connection request automatically. And I also figured out, like, if you're doing a search, if you don't want to use Navigator, for example, you can go into Loxo Source, right? And I can do a search for, a structural engineer in Orlando, right? And let's just say, how many we got here? Oh gosh, geez, steel.
Are we still streaming?
Okay, so yeah, we're still streaming. So I have 162. So instead of using Navigator, I could just really quickly hit the JobIn extension and import all 51. And then after I do that, put all these candidates into Loxo. Like just right now, I could select all and add the job, right? I could add it to a job. So they're in there. And then also now they're in JobIn, I send a LinkedIn connection request. So that would shorten my workflow a little bit. But I haven't messed around with that. Craig?
Yeah, so I had to jump off for another call for a minute when Robert was asking his question, but this is something I'm always interested in. Like when you do this and you add all those candidates to your job, is that how you do your sourcing and then you like kind of sort through in the job itself? Or are you super selective as to what candidates go into your job?
I'm super selective. So if I'm a navigator, I try to narrow that search down, right? So let's say I'm looking for, I was doing this search for a cold form steel engineer. I need somebody who has a lot of experience in cold form steel or light gauge steel, right? So they're either going to work for Clark Dietrich, Moreno Ware, Unimast, or they're going to work for a consulting firm now, but they used to work for those companies. So what I did is first I did a search for all the structural engineers that worked for those companies, right? Then I did a search for structural engineers who used to work for those companies that are now consulting firms. I put them all into a leads list. I go real quick and I find the ones that I like, the ones I don't like, I delete. And maybe that leads list in Navigator is 63 people, right? Then I hit the JobIn extension. It grabs all 63. I go to JobIn. I send them a connection request saying, hey, I'm a headhunter. I got a 100% remote position for a cold form steel engineer. However, if you'd be willing to move to the DC metro area, it could be a leadership role and pay a little more money. Are you interested, right? I let that run. And then again, I send the emails and start making the phone calls. And that's how I touch those 62 people. I try to be as selective as possible because I don't want to inundate my database with all these people, right?
Yeah, you don't want junk in your database,
now, right? Now JobIn is even making it easier because I don't have to be as selective in JobIn because I can sort. Once I run that search in, let's say, Navigator, and just put them all on the job. Now I can take JobIn and sort through there, delete the people I don't want, tag the ones I like, and then move them into Loxo. So there's some workarounds that I'm doing, but yeah, I try to be selective because I don't want junk in my database.
Yeah, so I try to do the same thing, but I always end up with a CSV list that's like 1,000 candidates, and you're trying to sort by either title or location or something. And it's unwieldy.
Well, wait a second. How do you get 1,000 candidates when you do a search?
I'm just using it as an example. I'm just exaggerating for effect. But you got a couple hundred candidates you got to look at, and you don't want to look at every single solitary profile because that just takes up too much time.
Well, you can do a quick. So the one cool thing about Navigator, you're talking about Navigator, right?
Yeah.
So
there are ways to scrape Navigator. Like there's Phantom Buster and Scrup, and I think Apify has some stuff to be able to scrape Navigator searches.
So if I'm doing a search in Navigator, right, and it gets a little too big, I'll start narrowing stuff down, right? So if I'm doing the one for a structural engineer, I'll do this. Actually, I'll probably do this because the one thing about structural is you have a lot of people who have mechanical engineering degrees, and I don't want them. So they have to have a civil or architectural engineering degree. So I'll do this first, right? And then if it's, let's say that the locations in the United States, because I'm doing that cold form steel, right? So I'll do United States, and then there's companies, right? So their current company is Moreno Ware. Am I spelling Moreno Ware wrong? Clark, CE.
add Mill Steel and MBA building supplies to that list, Thom.
Who?
Mill Steel. They're up and comers in that metal framing category, as is MBA building supplies.
Okay, so we do that. We got 9. We only got 9, right? But so then if this was a big, you just hit this right here, and real quick I can look at them.
Right.
Right.
But
And
sometimes
then
you don't
check
want. Yeah, but if you've got like, you're being very narrow as to what companies you're trying to pull out of, right?
Let's get rid of this.
So
Here, let's do this.
If you've got a long list of like, let's say, I don't know, 300 or 400 candidates, and I'll give you a good example: production manager. If I'm just searching for a production manager, I have to go in and select the industries. But even when I select the industries to try to narrow down that list for production manager title, I will still get production managers at videography places and television channels and all kinds of stuff, because production managers are also the people to do the video production, right?
Well, then don't you do this though? What industry are you trying to find the guy in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I narrow it down by the industry, exactly what you're doing right there. But it's still, the algorithm in Sales Navigator still gives you a bunch of false positives.
Really? Because I like industry would be, pick an industry for a production manager.
Just pick manufacturing, aerospace or automotive. It doesn't matter. Medical device. Pick a manufacturing industry.
Okay, pharmaceutical manufacturers, right? So in the U.S., we got 667 production managers, right? And why would there be television in here?
I'm telling you,
I would do.
I've run that search a million times, and I get them all the time. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, so I would take, like, I would do years in current company, right? I do 6 to 10, 3 to 5, and 1 to 2 to get rid of all the people who've been with the company more than 10 years. Now I'm at 238, right? And then from there, if that's still too much, I may do company headcount. I don't want anybody from a giant company, so I want anybody from a company that's let's say this number here, like any of these sizes, right? 5,000 and less.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got 156. Now that's manageable, right? So I that's what I do a lot of times is I'll look at different ways to manage it down, right? If there's 1,000 like this, let's go back to we got 238. So let's go back to this, right? The original one. The keyword, right? If it's pharmaceutical manufacturer, and I don't know, let's just say, I don't know, what do they manufacture? Like diabetes or I don't even know what they manufacture, but let's just say a word that I can spell. What's a keyword in pharmaceutical manufacturing? Anybody?
I don't.
Help a brother out.
I don't know.
Cancer. Right. So you can do like, that's like when you're sourcing, if you get these big lists, start thinking about how to narrow them down. And here's a really cool thing, right? So if you use like I'm just putting chemicals, right? There's a word, chemicals. CHEMICALS, right? So you get chemicals, right? And you're like, okay, I'm going to grab these 4. I'm going to add them to a list. Once you add them to a list, then come down here to save leads, right? And exclude anybody in the leads list. So because you've already done this, now when you do the search again, those 4 will be gone, right? So if I'm looking for a structural engineer and I'll do a bunch of different keywords, I'll do steel, I'll do concrete, I'll do metal, right? Once I get to grab the guys that I like that steel, then I exclude them, right? Then I'll go and do metal. And if I find 7 guys like with metal, I put them in, then I exclude them. So now you're not getting the same results. Your list is always getting smaller because you're pulling people from it. Does that make sense?
I didn't know you could do that. That actually is helpful because you do get a lot of repeats.
And you can actually do it with leads list here instead of list. You can click this lead list and pick a particular list, right?
Yeah.
So if I, exclude all my first degree connections or include all, right? You can include or exclude. Like I made a list called bridge. I put bridge in and all these bridge engineers, I said exclude all these bridge engineers. So I don't want anybody with bridge in it. And it took me like 5 minutes to just put the word bridge in, grab 6 pages of bridge engineers, made a lead. And then now when I did the search, all those bridge guys were gone and I can just use the word structural and not have to do not bridge.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Yeah. So, and guys know you can search by groups if you're a member of a group, right? Like I can search everybody in a particular, and then if they're members in a group, you can send them a free message. Right. Did y'all know that? Like in LinkedIn, you don't have to send an email if they're in a group. So if I do the, let's see, Structural Engineers USA group, right? And I get rid of the chemical manufacturing part, right? So no production managers either. So there's 4,000, right? So if I was to put in, I don't know, where's the location here? So I put in Maryland, right? And I haven't tried this yet with JobIn to see if they'll send them a message since they're in the same group. JobIn might send them a message for you, right? So all these people now, because we're in the same group, I can send them a message, right? Like I could click on this guy's thing and send him a message, but you got to be inside the group to do it. So now I'm wondering if Loxo or JobIn will allow you to do that.
I asked Michael that a couple of days ago, and he said no.
Okay.
Now, it'd be great if we could send a group message.
Yeah.
That's next.
Or not even a group, but send them a message in the group, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to do is send everybody, put it into a group, and then send everybody a message through JobIn.
Yeah.
And he said, no, that they're working on.
So let me see. So can I send her a message here? Message Crystal. Free message premium. She's a premium member, so maybe that's why. I'm wondering if it's a non-premium member. Let's just find this guy looks like he's a non-premium member. Right, so we do this. Let's see, LinkedIn profile.
He had that look.
So send message Young, and why? That's interesting. He's an open profiler, but it doesn't say he is. Is that because he's in the message? That's interesting. Let's find another guy.
Yeah, but the guy's a PE. You should be able to get his contact info.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just like wondering why are we able to? We shouldn't be able to message him from OG LinkedIn. But we're part of because they keep changing stuff on us and never let us know, right? Okay, so this guy, if I want to message him, it's going to take me to Sales Navigator. But since we're in the same group, right? We're in the same group. How would I find him in the group? Because then you can message him free in the group, right? You used to be able to join the group, but now you can't from here. He's supposed to be in Structural Engineers USA, right? So
now, did you hit the cloud? Did you try that? The cloud message one? The icon that looks like a cloud?
hold on, let me go back. Okay, groups. Hold on a second. Structural Engineers USA. I wanted to find it. He's supposed to be a member. I'm there. So I put him in here. How do I search in here?
I was just saying from that original list that you narrowed it down to Maryland, had all of them. I'm wondering, will it recognize that you're a member? Yeah, like that. Okay, over there by the save. Go to your right. Go to your right.
Yeah,
go to your right.
Right here. This is a I'm using an InMail inside of Navigator.
Okay, so
that's what that is.
That little cloud thing over by the 3 dots, is that what you pushed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little cloud thing. Yeah. Yeah. So here now, since I'm in the group, I bet you I can message him normal. Yeah. Because we're in the group now, I can message him for free because we're in the group together. So it's a long way around. But if you didn't want to send him an email, and that's the cool thing about this, it goes to the focused. It doesn't go to the other. When someone messages you from a group, because if I message someone from Navigator, oftentimes it'll go to other. Oops.
Oh yeah. Is there a way
like
to
here?
use?
I got a ton of other messages here. See, and these are all in mail. See, in mail, right? But if you send them from a group, it'll say group in here, and it'll stay in the focused. So you're better off if you're going to send someone an in-mail, you're better off to sending them, and you don't have recruiter because recruiter will go in the focus. If you're using Navigator, you're better off finding them in a group and sending them a message that way.
Is there a way to use Make to do a bulk email template?
Or a bulk group messaging?
Well,
there might be.
Yeah, not with everybody's name at the top, like somebody makes like a huge BCC, but just individually.
You know, the way and that's the thing with we talked about this last week. For those of you who've ever tried the ChatGPT Pro, it's $200 a month. They give you an option to use the beta, which controls your browser. That's what you could do. Go through structural engineering recruiter group and message every single person in here with this message. And it would slowly go through and do it for you. You might get banned for doing it, but you could do that.
You can, Steve, do bulk emails and the automation platforms, Make or Zapier or whatever. I don't know if you can do group messages because LinkedIn really limit what you can do with the automation in those platforms. Most of it's limited to advertising. If you want to pay for their advertising, you can automate that, but that's usually about it.
So look at this, Craig. Could you tell Make to go into here and message every single one of these people one at a time? Is there a way to do that through the group?
I don't think so.
Because it opens up like this, right? Like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that capability is allowed by LinkedIn. I'd have to look, but I don't think it is.
I mean, you spent 5 minutes looking for this guy Liu Sun's contact information, and I spent about 30 seconds
we're just
Googling it, and I'm looking at his phone number.
Yeah. We're just messing around, like
I mean,
there's
how it works. To be said for Boolean search still.
Yeah. Well, Boolean search is being
sure.
limited now from what are they doing now in the Boolean? They're doing so the amount of people you can put in, or amount of characters you can put in, right?
Oh yeah,
we were talking about this last week.
Yeah, but a guy with a last name like that, you can find him.
Yes. Yeah, but if you're just looking for, like, production managers in Dayton, Ohio, and you've got a long list of companies, I think they limited you to 45 or 40 some operators. You can't do more than that.
Okay.
Yeah,
and that's only in Google.
I was trying to see if because when you do because that's the cool thing. Like JobIn has a sourcing set here where you can do X-ray search, and they'll build it for you, so you can do search people from LinkedIn or search on whatever, and you just put in what you want, right? So I want you can use a Boolean string here, right? You can do advanced operators where they'll add open to work, right? Keyword, around, one word from, in title, in URL, in text, right? They'll build this for you, right? So I can do, structural and engineer, and then around, one word, mechanical. Let's do mechanical, right? Mechanical. Around, two words from platform. No, that won't work. From two words from science, right? Let's do that. and then start Google X-ray search, and there you go.
So you're
It's all
looking
done for you.
those people that have a Bachelor of Science, right?
Yeah.
With mechanical
So
engineering.
this is it. LinkedIn, structural and engineer, open to work, mechanical around 2 science, right? So that's going to give me everybody with a BS in mechanical engineering, Bachelor of Science, right? That's open to work, right? And then, so this is using link, when you come back to JobIn, and you can just go, okay, let's try, whoops, fuck me. God damn it. I hate my mouse. Yeah, because you can search all these other areas too, right? For developers, freelancers, research and academic. I don't know what this is, but like for Kelly, you can Google Scholar, free patents online, Google Patents, Loop, academia, and ResearchGate, right? If you are into startups, you can search all these different startups for certain things. If you do healthcare, they have all these healthcare websites where you can do the searches.
I know this is individualized for everybody, but just curious, do you have a recommendation on the pick and play account that you got with JobIn? You can choose the levels on various things, right?
Yeah. So for me, delayed activity. So I have the Pro LinkedIn automation, and that allows you to do 150 a day bulk direct messaging, doing a CSV up to 2,000 a month, right? And the ATS starter, which gives you 10 job openings. And the reason I picked this, the starter plan, is because of there was something I didn't need in the Pro, but I had to pick the Pro plan for automation because of the CSV. I wanted to have, I didn't want to be limited to just 500 contacts, right? So, and then there's a send in LinkedIn messages on behalf. So the Pro allows you to, I think, send LinkedIn messages. Yes, enables running LinkedIn operators on behalf of other team members in the work group who enable share on their behalf. So you can send LinkedIn messages for like your whole team. Like if you had a sourcer and you had 10 recruiters using JobIn, they could do all the LinkedIn stuff for you. Yeah, I think that was the reason why. And then I got the ChatGPT thing, the starter plan, for $5, right? And you have 1,300 queries. I haven't really figured out how to use it. Ernie first, then Robert.
No, I was just going to mention to you that there was a page I found as you guys were talking about connections that we hadn't mentioned, and I just learned of it. It's a Vera page, and I put it on the Vera pages, and I put it on the message, and it looks pretty good. So type in your stuff there, Thom.
Well, this is running, Robert. What did you have?
Oh, I was just curious. Let's say you have a category of a particular niche, and 300 companies. They could be clients, they could be sources. On like JobIn that you're talking about, is there something like that where you could actually import all 300 of those companies, if you will, and then see what changes have been made? In other words, I don't want to see every time somebody there has a birthday or post a picture of them having a martini, but is there something like that in JobIn where you can put in, let's say, this is my category, 300 companies, this is my category, this is where I play, and what moves have happened there?
Do you want to know like what moves happen at the company, or what moves happens with each person in the company?
I want to know when somebody's left the company, when they hired somebody new. That's
a good question. So if we click on Varco Prudent, right, this is what you can look at with the thing, right? So it'll show the people that I have inside of JobIn, right? It shows the company, right, on there, and then you can import all the employees you want. But in terms of some type of
other than that, having all of those saved leads as Kelly was talking about managing your notifications. That's the only other way that I could think of to do it.
Yeah. So here are all the people who are in this company, right? So you could do all contacts. I just updated them, so all 13 are right. And then if we go into the filters, right, we could.
I'll check it out later. You don't need to get that.
No, yeah, I don't really see. I don't see anything that is going to do that. The you can tag them. You can yeah, it really, no, for what you're trying to do, that whole like that's got to be a navigator thing, and figure out a way how to make it more user friendly in Navigator. I mean, you can search by last message that you sent them. You can search by their LinkedIn tags if they decide to become open to work, right? But there's no way to set up alerts that I know of yet.
Okay.
And Ernie, back to that Vera pages, man. That looked like it was asking me for money. Like after I put in my name, like Thomas.
It did, but it says it's
ALascio.
free. It says it's free, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's free. I'll go to me and still has me in Vero Beach, right? So if I click on view profile, right, this is all free. But if I try to click here, what happens if like I can't get past any of this.
Yeah, there was this $1 page, but that's just for a quick phone number. You know, if you wanted somebody's phone number.
This is, I mean, I haven't lived here. You know why it's grabbing this one? That's the address on my driver's license. I still haven't fixed my Florida driver's license. That's why it's grabbing that.
Well, what about if you go down to the bottom? Is there anything?
I mean, it's got
the phone's
all my
down
Florida stuff. This one right here is, I don't even know what this number is. 561. This is super old.
Yeah.
This was my phone number in Florida, but it was 772. I don't know why they have 561.
Phone numbers below that. But I thought I had found your phone number anyway.
There's my cell. Yeah, the cell right there. Like that's right. It's got this. Let's put in
maybe it was the wrong ALascio. Right there. Wait, no. Keep going down. Crystal Lake. Right there.
Okay, so is that right?
That's right.
Is that your cell?
Yep.
Yeah, but are we forgetting about the fact that people don't pick up their personal cell as much as they will their work cell?
But yeah, but you can text them. Once you have that, you can text them. Too. And then say, I just sent you an email, bro. Pick it up.
Ernie, whose cell number is this?
You know, I don't even know half of those, to be honest with you.
Did you live in Millsboro, Delaware?
Yeah. Nope. Delaware, San. Let me see, where else did it say I lived?
Rutherford, Crystal Lake, Rutherford, Visalia.
Yeah. It's my house. That's it.
You know, there's a thing called Delete Me that can take you off all of this stuff, right?
Yeah. What's his name? Tony's not on. Tony, Ouchie guy works for our firm. He, you can't find anything on him. I mean, nothing. Like I did been verified. It's wild. He signed up for one of those credit card monitoring, and as a free thing, they gave him access to removing all of his info. And you put in ANTHO.
So,
God damn it.
Can I ask one more question? I know I'm talking too much or whatever, but
no, dude, you're good.
How do you guys deal with calling companies nowadays to get people's actual cell phone numbers? Because with today's technology, they know exactly where you're calling from. I mean, short of having 5 burner phones or 4 lines, how do you guys go about that? Calling.
So my favorite one is to call on Mondays and go, "Oh, Robert, hey, is Ernie in?" Oh gosh, man, I have the worst day. I dropped my cell phone. I dropped my cell phone Dropped my cell phone in the lake this weekend. I was supposed to call him today. I can't find any of his info. Can you give me his cell phone number?
Yeah.
It works every time. They get this empathy thing because everybody loses their cell phone or drops their cell phone, right? So if I can't find someone's number, I will call the company and I will say that. And every single time they give me the number, I just say, I'm supposed to call him at 4:00 today. I've been looking for his info. I dropped my cell phone in the water and it's driving me. Can you give me his number? And they don't even think to ask who you are or anything. They just feel so bad that you lost your phone. They give you your phone number. Works every time.
Or you could say this is Ernie from the county, and if you want to leave a message, and can you tell him that he tested positive on his VD test?
Now you're going OG. Now you're going old school.
So is that Tony? Was that Tony?
That was, but no phone number. No phone number. Just his, and I don't even think that's his current address.
Yeah, no, but either way, it's just another one that's out there that I'd never heard of.
It gave us all the right email addresses, so
you know, when
you will find one of those will work and one of them won't. My main one is True People, but there's a couple other ones. But I have found that if they're not on True People, they can be on several of those other sites.
Oh yeah, I agree. So here we're hitting 2:30, guys, which is a long meeting for us. Is there anything else? Because I got to get the fuck out of here.
I'm good.
Tom, you gotta get a haircut.
I did, man. What's his name showed that photo of me with this big wave in the front, and I was like, no way, I need a haircut.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should get a haircut.
I got to keep myself, I got to keep that gray away. My hair can turn any color at once as long as it doesn't turn loose, but I don't want to go gray too soon.
Go with Craig's. You won't have to worry about it, bro.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. If I started losing my hair, it's the first thing I do.
Good meeting you guys. Have a good weekend.
Robert, have a great weekend, bro. Bye. Anything else? Anybody before we go?
No,
Domenic, are you still on?
No.
Hey, Tommy, I had to drop. So send me your SSAR one more time.
Domenic, you're muted, Domenic, if you're on.
Okay, SSAR is right here. Shareable link, copy, and I'm putting it in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
But if anybody has an issue setting it up or anything, just let me know. It's pretty easy. The free version gives you 4 or 5 columns and 4 or 5 back pages, right? And even if you can't, just I save Dean's back pages to my bookmarks, right? And you can see all his stuff, and he's constantly updating it. And that's got a lot of info as well. But mine is this is what I use on a daily basis. It has my candidate lookup stuff in there. It has all my ChatGPT stuff. Boolean X-ray, LinkedIn automation, cost of living reports, right? I have all that stuff. So training, transcribing. Oh, that's another thing. We were talking about transcribing, Craig. If I hadn't bought ChatScribe Pro, Fathom, Otter, and Rev give you a certain amount free, right? 20 minutes or something, whatever, free. So between those 3, if you want to try doing the transcribing stuff like I'm doing, you can get free to try it out at first. Drop it in ChatGPT, say, summarize this interview for me, and to try it out and see if you like it.
Yep, I really like Rev AI a lot. And there's a new one. Let me see if I can find it in my list.
Is it Rev AI or Rev.com?
Rev.ai. I think it's the same company, but I always go to Rev.ai. Here it is. INKR.app.
RNKI?
No, Inker. INKR. They also have some
transcribe everything fast, accurate, and seamless.
Yeah, they also have some free. So many hours. I think it is free per month.
3
or something
files
like that.
daily, no limit on total transcriptions. Wow.
I just found that one this week.
Can we
That's
stop?
Awesome.
Can we stop recording?
Yep. Hold on. Let me take us out. We're not out yet, Ernie. So just give me a second. Well, that's it for today's Roundtable. Thank you for all attending and sharing today. And those that watch later, please like and subscribe and share the Roundtable on social media or anywhere you can. Thank you for being part of the Recruiter Roundtable. We really appreciate it. YouTube.com at the Recruiter Roundtable. Check us out on YouTube at check us out at www.therecruiterroundtable.com. LinkedIn at the Recruiter Roundtable. Legal services for this roundtable are provided by the law firm of the DRE Cheatham Mahal. For topic discussions, questions or more, the Recruiter Roundtable at Gmail. And remember, this podcast may contain information that is confidential, privileged, or unsuitable for be sent to the person with low self-esteem and no sense of humor. For rational oblivious police, be happy to know that no animals were hurt in the making of the podcast, although Trashy is living on hard time. Thanks again for being part of the Recruiter Roundtable. For Ernie, Moreno, and Kelly Nelson, I'm Thom, ALascio. We'll see you next week on the Recruiter Roundtable. Until then, don't forget to smile and dial. We're out.
No, I was going to ask, did you guys see that